few weeks ago, I made this video when news broke out that Sugar Cosmetics revenue declined by 20% and their losses grew by 97%. And the comments on that video led me to discover a very surprising yet disturbing trend in the Indian beauty market. What piqued my curiosity was that many people were talking about how several Indian beauty brands are in the same boat as Sugar, even the big profitable ones. So naturally, I decided to dive deeper, and what I found was that the Indian beauty market is in a messed up state right now. It's this weird, broken business model where nothing seems to be working. It's fueled purely by marketing rather than good quality products that naturally generate demand. And in the case of many businesses, there's absolutely zero manufacturing happening. There's no real products that they sell. But wait, how's that even possible to begin with? Let's dive in, as always, with the help of data and evidence. Okay, Sugar Cosmetics reported declining revenue. They had bigger losses, blah blah. Let's move past that. Wow Skin Science and M Caffeine, for example, were in the exact same boat. Instead of growing, they also reported declining revenue. But let's move past them as well. These are small, loss-making companies. Naturally, they would face more heat. But what about a big, profitable listed company? One that hasn't reported a single decline in revenue for the past 5 years, Mamaearth. But during these 5 years, their growth rate was consistently being cut by half. From 104%, they just grew by 8% this year. But look at their costs during the same 5-year period, specifically the marketing costs. These were increasing, and more recently at a faster rate than their revenue. This is the exact same thing that happened with Sugar Cosmetics. So we have to ask the question, why is the return on investment for marketing dropping even for a very large, established and successful company like this one? Think about it. As a business, when it comes to marketing, if I'm spending 1000 rupees to acquire a new customer, it makes sense to do that only if I know that the lifetime value of that customer, meaning the money that I could make from him during the course of our entire relationship, happens to be more than 1000 rupees and keeps rising. In the best case scenario, or even an average case scenario, this should be happening. And if this is happening, then higher marketing spend should translate into higher growth, right? There's several reasons as to why this isn't happening, and all of them point towards the truth that this is only the start of the decline. But the biggest reason is that all that these companies seem to be doing is marketing. And I don't say that to sensationalize. The reality of their marketing would blow your mind. Take a look at these two products. One is a face wash marketed by Wow Skin Science and the other is marketed by Mamaearth. They are both competing brands, vitamin C face washes, but positioned very different. On one hand, Mamaearth highlights things like it's made safe, it has natural ingredients, it's toxin free. It's a wellness oriented sort of health first approach. But now look at Wow Skin Science. Their name itself has brightening. As a result, they start talking about results first instead of health first. It helps dull skin, uneven tone, loss of radiance. Their approach is outcome oriented. This product will keep your skin bright for 24 hours. Now look at the irony. These are virtually the exact same product. Look at the ingredients, and even more importantly, they're both manufactured by the exact same contract manufacturing company, Capco International. This is an independent company not owned by either of them. They only make a base product that is further tweaked by brands like Dabur, Mamaearth, Wow Skin Science, Rene. They tweak the fragrance, change the color, create new packaging, and then sell it to you as a differentiated product that would change your life. Now, it's okay to do this as long as you think your audience doesn't have a brain, but the problem is a lot of consumers have started seeing this now. Think about it. You call yourself a manufacturer, but this isn't a real product. There's no change to the formulation. A company like Capco openly advertises that we have more than 500 ready to launch formulations. Come to us, tell us what you need, slap your logo onto it, and off you go. It's that easy to start a beauty business. This lack of differentiation, however, is the reason why customer loyalty in this industry is as good as non-existent. If everyone is selling similar products at similar prices and the customer knows about them, obviously he would only go to the person offering the lowest price. Try this. Go to your bathroom or near your bedstand and look at the products. Are you loyal to one personal care company? This is a huge problem in an industry that spends so much money on marketing because they spend all this money to acquire new customers, but the lifetime value of these customers remains stagnant. And funnily enough, this isn't even their biggest issue. In business, the number one most important metric that you check is the market. If it's a market with great dynamics that support the growth of your business, it makes sense to enter it. The problem, however, is that the Indian beauty market operates with some super messed up dynamics. Now I'll explain why, but parallelly there is another market that's phenomenal to enter right now. In this market, people are able to grow their revenue and their net income at not double but triple-digit growth rates. I'm referring to the market for content creators that cost nothing to enter, and yet 9 out of 10 creators in India make no money despite getting views. And as someone who creates videos for a living and has a team of 6 people, I am not okay with this statistic, which is why I wrote this book, Creator to Crorepati. It condenses my 5 years of experience being a creator and working with all of these brands that would help you turn this into a side hustle and then maybe into a full-time career. It is designed as a guidebook that condenses my 5 years of experience monetizing not 1 but 4 different channels across 2 languages. This book has already become an Amazon bestseller, and if you want to turn content creation into a side hustle or maybe even a full-time profession, I've linked it in the description. Okay, now back to the messed up dynamics of the Indian beauty market. For starters, the average Indian beauty company spends 300 to 500 rupees to acquire a new customer. Also, an average order value of 12 to 1500 rupees is considered to be healthy. This way, after meeting that marketing expense and all the other operating expenses like warehousing, shipping, employee costs, the company can finally make a little money. But the big problem here is that the average Indian consumer in the beauty segment spends 1214 rupees every 6 months in total, not on one brand. So what do you think happens? On one hand, brand wants an average order value of 1500 rupees. On the other hand, the customer with no loyalty can only spend 1200 in 6 months. Failure, my friend. That's what happens. Moreover, the phenomenon that we are seeing is very common. All the new age beauty brands report strong initial growth and then slowly this starts tapering and maybe even goes into declining territory. How's that possible across all the companies? They all can't be run by incompetent managers, right? Again, it's because of the messed up market dynamics. You see, that's because this industry went out with a mission to change a habit. That mission failed miserably. The second biggest virus after the pandemic was the direct-to-consumer craze. All the brands thought that we would sell directly to the customer without any middlemen or aggregators and we would make tons of money. Neither do we need a store nor a marketplace. The sale would happen on our own website, our centralized warehouse would ship the order to the customer, and all the margin would be ours.
This is business.
They thought that all the old legacy brands are idiots. They're still relying on retail stores, marketplaces like Amazon, Flipkart. Who needs that? First, the customer acquisition cost of 300 to 500 rupees is also steadily rising because the whole D2C promise of selling directly from your website isn't as straightforward as it sounds. In order to get people to buy from your website, you need to first make sure that the people know that your site even exists. And how would you do that? By spending money on ads. Now, ads are an oligopoly market controlled by 3 companies: Meta, Amazon, and Google. These companies make money by showing targeted ads to a finite population. The eyeballs looking at these ads are constant. The number of people willing to buy makeup are constant, and yet the total number of companies selling makeup is only rising, and as a result their cumulative spend on ads is also rising. This dynamic has caused the price of advertising to skyrocket, and as a result now you have to spend a lot more money on ads to get the same results as 5 years ago. Facebook ads, for instance, became 21% more expensive in just 1 year. That's almost 4 times the inflation rate. Plus, these ads have a high chance of backfiring. They could get you even more customers that aren't loyal. See, if I'm running Facebook ads, I would measure the success of these ads by looking at the number of conversions. Meaning, if 1,000 people saw my ad, how many of them clicked or bought a product from me? Now, these are targeted ads. A platform like Facebook or Google would show you what you are most likely to be interested in. But for Facebook to make more money tomorrow, it wants me, the advertiser, to feel like my cost per conversion is lower. So if I'm running a bunch of ads and one of them is buy one get one on any product, Facebook would make sure that it shows this ad to the people who are most likely to make an impulse purchase, people who are deal hunters. Facebook only does that, so I feel like, oh, I spent 1 lakh rupees on Facebook ads and I got so many conversions. But these aren't high value conversions. So in a way, the whole direct to consumer, no need to give up margin to anyone was a lie. Offline, a company was giving up margin to their distributors, retailers, their sales staff. But online, they were still paying hefty commissions to marketplaces and spending a ton of money on ads without which they wouldn't be visible. Plus, all these problems that we just discussed are online alone, which only makes up 14% of the total sales in the Indian beauty market. 84% of Indian skincare products are sold offline. People want to go to the store to get a feel of the product before making a huge commitment. They want to see whether the color matches their skin tone before dropping 600 rupees on a lipstick. And offline is another messed up game. If you want to set up your own stores, they are super expensive. If you want to get into retail chains, you would still increase the complexity of your cost structure. You would have to give up margins to distributors and retailers, which was specifically what you wanted to avoid when you went down the direct to consumer path. Plus, a lot of personal care products do not have a long shelf life. If you have stock that is just 3 to 6 months away from expiry, a lot of retailers would refuse to sell it. And all of this offline mess is what legacy brands navigated first before they went online. For them, online is just another nice thing to have. But for a new age brand like Sugar Cosmetics, online was everything. So now the challenge is to figure out how to thrive in this cutthroat offline space while your online business is literally dying. The companies that we just discussed are dealing with this very differently, by the way. Mamaearth on one hand already has 100,000 stores and they plan on doubling down on this by opening an additional 50,000. Sugar Cosmetics on the other hand reduced their total number of stores from 45,000 to 36,000 and stated that now our focus is not opening new stores but improving the efficiency of the existing ones. Wow on the other hand still doesn't have major retail presence. They don't even have their own exclusive stores. So what's the way ahead now? How does this industry go about fixing itself? In my opinion, the solution is only to become brands. Contract manufacturing does not make you a brand. Big names like L'Oreal, MAC, Kama Ayurveda, Forest Essentials are doing well because they stand out based on real differentiation. Differentiation that comes from research and development into making good products. A company like L'Oreal isn't stupid to spend 1.3 billion euros on R&D alone. They do that so that they can charge a premium for their product that is justified. Sure, Indian brands don't have the kind of money that L'Oreal does, but even if you look at it in terms of total money spent on R&D as a percentage of revenue, we lag behind. Our companies don't even discuss R&D in their annual reports, let alone spend anything on it. True differentiation does not come from contract manufacturing and slapping your logo on the bottle. The audience isn't stupid, they can tell the difference between a real brand and a white labeler. What do you think about this? I'd love to know your thoughts in the comments. And if you want to learn how to monetize content creation, the link to my book Creator to Crorepati is in the description. If you learned something new, subscribe to the channel. I'll see you in the next one.